morning. Halffullmonty here. It's about 35 degrees. Beautiful morning out here at campsite 24, Lake Whitney State Park. And I'm going to cook some chili today. And we're having a little potluck down here about lunchtime, so I need to get ready for it. And so making chili is uh, people are divided on that. I'm a purist, multi generational Texas, uh, raised by a mom and dad that were lived through the Depression, World War II, and all that stuff. But out in the country, when they were children, they didn't have electricity or running water, and my grandparents surely didn't, uh, and so forth. And I don't remember my folks ever really making chili. Uh, they would buy this stuff in a brick, and you put it in a pot and I add water to it, and here you had chili. And then I grew up in Fort Worth, so a company called I can't remember what the parent company was. It started with a C, but anyway, Wolf Brand Chili, it canned chili, and it was made in Fort Worth. And I'm waiting for the crock pot to warm up, by the way, or I can get started. But it's a Fort Worth company, and uh, my folks, they when they came up with something that okay, you don't have to make your own bread. Well, I'll buy bread. Okay, so you don't have to make your own chili. You go buy your chili. It's easier. And to me, that kind of chili is more of the chili that you would put on your hot dogs and stuff. But that's what we had. So the chili that I make today is I came up with the concoction myself, pretty much. Our After I got married, me and my wife would take turns trying to make chili, and it pretty much came out like spaghetti sauce. You might as well open up a can of ragu or a jar of ragu or something. But so I'm like, that's not right. And so I came up with this blend that I have now. Texas Red is what they call it, or chili in Texas. If there's a international society down in Terlingua every year, that in fact I think they just finished up the chili cook-off. They have specific rules and regulations, and I've read some of them, and I one day might try that. But it's definitely meat chili, and by chili, chilies, peppers, and that's it. And so that means no beans and no whatever you put in it. And I understand why beans were put in chili. I think, like my folks, when they through the Depression and what have you, they would put whatever they could in a pot, just make the meal bigger to feed more people and what have you. And so I think that's really how beans got included in chili, because they're really two different things. And I've done a little bit of research and stuff. There were a group of ladies down in San Antonio. They call them the chili sisters or queens or whatever. But this is going back way back, early 1900s maybe, around in there. They would set up tables around the square, and they would sell. You get a bowl of chili, and it was usually the chili and then tortillas. And you went and you gave them the money, sat down, eat your thing. And what I think made it so popular is that what they've done is they've taken the peppers and they got that, and then they, of course, they dried them, and then they grind them, and uh, they come up with the mix, and then what cowboys and uh, military people, what people that would be out for days and what have you, they could uh, take the powder, and then they would take dried meat. They could dry meat and it'd stay good. It'd be like what we would call beef jerky stuff. But then you would mix that together with some water, and it would rehydrate the meat. Then you cooked it; it would soften it up, and then you would have this uh, uh, chili. And uh, but you could take bread, probably tortillas, but they probably wouldn't last long. About that same time, they have what they call in the general stores and stuff a deal called the Cracker Barrel, which was basically a barrel with saltines in it. And what you did is you went up there and you opened it up, and you got your whatever. I don't know if they did by weight or volume or whatever, but you bought your saltines and you took that home, and those things would stay good. So if you were going out on whatever you were going out on, you could take your chili mix, your dried meat, and your saltines, and you were good. Some coffee and water, and where you get your water as you go, streams and stuff. You can't. Water's 8 pounds a gallon. So anyway, so that's what I've researched, and that's why I think went on. And I think that during certain times, people put whatever they could in a meal to stretch it out, to feed more people, have more nutrition. And those people also, if they're taking the powder and they run out of, they might have to, they shoot who knows, a deer, a rabbit, whatever. That probably went in there too, So I understand it, but as far as doing chili cook-offs and stuff, I did a couple of those, and they were not the official rules and stuff. And I found that I would cook my pot of chili and put it out there, and then of course the judges would be, that they might not have ever eaten chili, and so you'd be competing against people with macaroni and potatoes and corn, all kinds of stuff. It's like it's apples and oranges kind of deal. And so I'm like, nah, I don't really do that. But I've always like, hey man, one day I'll get on one of those chili teams and do it right. But anyway, so what I personally do, and I think my pot's getting warm now. So what I've done today, because I'm camping out, is I've pre-cooked my meat. I've chopped my onions, and basically what I do is I do a hamburger, 80-10, or they have chili meat, or it doesn't, the meat is like, okay, you want to chop it up consistent in there. Some people like there's different kinds of chili. You can have big old chunks in there, or you can have like a hot dog, almost like a sauce, but I like texture to it. And what I do is I do a hamburger and pork sausage blend. I brown it, and after I brown it, I mix my while I'm doing that, I mix my sauce in another pot. And the way I make it is I combine the liquids and the seasoning and what have you, and to get the right consistency. And you know, flavor, color, all that stuff. And then I take my meat, drain it, and put it in the pot and cook it all together, and wham, you got chili. You can make this stuff in 15 minutes, or you can make this stuff in 4 hours. You know, it just depends on how. It's pretty quick. It's I've always liked it, and like I said, with the meat and stuff. And I don't put beans in there. Beans to me is like, okay, you can have bean soup, but if you are going to put beans in your chili, don't put regular pinto beans in there, because what happened is well, I guess you could, it'd be gone. They would just dissolve. I think most people put kidney beans or some kind of a bean that will be there. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't put beans in my chili, and I don't put chili in my beans. But I have put chili in almost everything else. I put chili in cornbread. I've, you know, put it on tortillas and made burritos. I put it on chips with cheese and made nachos. I put it in baked potatoes, hot dogs. You know, it's when I go camping, I usually make some before I go and put it up, and you can freeze it or whatever. Individual containers, you decide what you want to do with it. I put it in there, and like being who I am and where I'm from, it's like you can pretty much eat chili every day, barbecue, or you know. And that's the other thing, you use like fajita meat, roast, whatever. You know, it's a very versatile thing to use. But of course, like I said, it can get very controversial and very animated if you start talking to people that have definite opinions on chili. And so, you know, and then what you put in it. Some people, oh, you can't put anything in it, you just eat it. You know, when I was a kid, I was talking earlier about the bricks. Those things had a lot of grease in it, and the Wolf brand did too. And I would get that chili, and I would get saltines, and I would just, well, the way they was served is you had your chili, then you had, there was a bowl of chopped up onions, a bowl of cheese, grated cheese, and then saltines, and so or crackers. Anyway, I would put the onions or the cheese and the onions, and then the crackers, I would crumble them and just cover the whole thing with crackers, you know. Well, my mom would be like, why are you using so many crackers? Because most people, they'll get like a cracker, like they're eating a salad or something. They'll take a spoonful of chili and maybe put chili on their cracker and eat it, you know. But I'm like, you know, I'm putting the cracker crumbs down there to soak up all the grease, and then it's easier to consume the bowl of chili because the grease is all up in the crackers. I know that's kind of gross, but that's what I did. But anyway, like I said, I've got the old crock pot here, and it's gonna get a little bit warm. Morning. So that's like basically a whole white onion, and like I was saying before, I'm not too picky. White onion, just the onion. Huh? Wow, that's gonna take a little way of this time to defrost a little bit. So put a white onion in there, and usually if I'm just using a pot, you know, or I would saute those a little bit in there before I start adding everything else. So I would saute those onions kind of where they start getting clear, and then I would start adding the rest. And like I said, we'll see how that goes. I'll come back. There's no reason for you to hear me drag on and on and on. So here we go. I'll be back in a minute. So here we go. I'm not a normal crock pot cooking guy, so this is a little bit different. It's taking a while. But anyway, so I put the onions in there to get them to saute a little bit. And then this is like paste. And the deal with all this is you just put in what you want. You make your own thing, but this has got, like, you know, a little peppers chopped up in it, and it's anyway. So that's probably about a cup and a half or so of that. And so I'm just, instead of I'm just going to put it in there because I got to get it to get warm. It's not really warming up for me. And so Rotel, I'm going to put a can of Rotel. I drain the juice off of it. I use mild. That way, anybody, if you know, if you don't like spicy hot stuff, it's still got a little bit of spice in it. And I have my homegrown jalapenos right here, if you want to add a little heat on it. But see how this is a potluck, I got to make it for everybody, kind of, you know, so you can make it whatever you want, and you make it whatever you want when you make it. So this is basically just chopped up tomatoes and green chilies. And then I'm gonna add a can of this. And then I use, you can use water, beer, I've heard all kinds of stuff. Some people use beef broth. I think the beef broth takes away from what I already got in there, so I just use plain chicken broth. And I use what's on the soup can here. And you might have to add more or less depending on how you like the consistency of your chili to come out looking like. Then you can use, I use a packet. I know this is cheating, but this is mild. You can get hot, whatever, but it's basically chili powder with some seasonings in it. Anyway, it's got a recipe on there. It probably work. But let's go with that, like that. Blend it all in. If you want to skip to what the end product looks like, you can go on my playlist. I did a short on a bowl of chili after it was all done, about to eat it. So anyway, blend all that in there really good. And then I add a little bit of this. I put this pretty much on everything. picked this up from one of my daughters. She actually puts this stuff on everything, her eggs and everything. Put a little bit of that in there, and I put a little bit of this in here. It's a little mesquite flavoring, a little bit. But what it has in it is it's got, I can't think of the kind of pepper it is, but it gives a smoke flavor to it that I like. Just a little bit of that. And I use a little bit of his stuff just because I'm using it up. I got some to try out, and I don't know what's in it. It's okay. It's got kind of a different flavor than what I'm used to, but it's a lot flakier for some reason. And then of course I put in some cumin. I think I just do this because I like the smell of it when it's cooking. Just a little bit of that. Gonna blend that all in there. Basically that gives you the color that you want, or at least the color that I want. So I don't know if you can see the consistency that we're talking about. And then I've got my pre-browned, I think it's 80-20, but it says chili meat. It looks like they run it through the grinder differently. And this is probably Jimmy Dean pork sausage. Then you can get like mild, spicy, whatever you want to put in there. And it's like a pound of each, a pound hamburger, pound, you know. It makes a good pot. You know, if this is all you're eating, and well, I imagine maybe 6, 8 people, you can get a good sized bowl out of it. Anyway, so you blend all that in. So now this is the consistency you got, and that's not too bad. And so what I do, I'm gonna put a little bit more in it, make it a little more liquidy, because I think it'll probably cook off a little bit. And it's just a hair thick, so I'm gonna put about maybe a half a cup or so in there. Blend it in real good. Then I'm going to let that do its magic. We'll be back at the end, at the finished product here. So I guess I'm gonna button this one up. Finished making the chili. I took it over to the potluck, and it got ate up, and uh, they everybody enjoyed the the chili, and there were lots of good food there, and lots of good people, and conversations were had. Anyway, cleaned up, back to the campsite here. Uh, the view from the dinette, I guess. That's the back. That's Lake Whitney back there in the very back. And all the neighbors out walking their dogs and what have you. It's a beautiful day. It's almost 74 degrees out here. Sun's out. Uh, no wind. It's just great. So if you're ever out in this general area, Lake Whitney State Park is I don't know, maybe halfway between Waco and Fort Worth, maybe, I don't know. But Lake Whitney has, with this state park, there's several Corps of Engineer parks on the lake, private parks, and there's a county park. Hams Creek is where the Brazos, I think, goes into Lake Whitney, or is it Nolan River? But anyway, there's a river, that's Hams Creek. I like it a lot. It's in Johnson County instead of whatever county this is in, but it's your state park facility, and I showed you the lot. The site number 24. It's got a little bit of a tilt to it, but not really that much if you're doing you're pulling a trailer, especially a small one like Perlita de Casita here, 19 feet. You got room to spare. It's I think good for a layover for a night. It would be good for maybe a weekend. Just to be camped outside. Walking around the campsite. There's not a whole lot of trails, and the RV loop, the horseshoe loop is what it's called. It's kind of away from all the other camp areas. They have all manner of cabins, and they've got a pavilion out there by the swim area, kind of a thing. And Lake Whitney is used to be, I don't know if it still is, it used to be a really good fishing lake. This time of year, it's got cold, like last night, got down like 31 degrees. And then it gets warm. I don't know what that does. I'm not that good of a fisherman that could tell you what that does to it, but I think we should be getting crappie. Well, I guess that's a spring thing, but I've seen some people in Granbury catching some huge crappie off of their docks at their house out in Granbury. In fact, it was the biggest crappie I've ever seen. Almost like a striper size. But anyway, it's a fishing lake, and people ski on it. They ski out. You ski out at Hams Creek, also, which is a county park. And then, like I said, there's some private parks out here too that people, especially local people, have gone to year in, year out. But I guess we're in February now, and you can't ask for anything better. 73 degrees, clear skies. in February. Yeah, that's why I live in Texas. You know, it was 31 degrees last night, but it's wonderful right now. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to view my videos, and leave me a comment, share, please subscribe, click the little bell, and y'all guys be safe and have a good day. Half Full Monty out.